Hi there, it's Ron Gula from Gula Tech Adventures. Today we're going to talk about, as a high schooler, how can you get into cybersecurity? So I'm talking about this from the point of view of having been in the National Security Agency doing pen testing, having co-founded and run Tenable Network Security, and also now as president of Gula Tech Adventures. How do I see people getting into the cyberspace? But more than that, we're also investors in Cyber, which is a great company that you can go to right now and get cyber training in a wide number of things. And also, as our Gula Tech Foundation, we've actually worked with many different cybersecurity nonprofits out there to help you get into cybersecurity. So what are some ways you can get in? Well, the first thing is you got to know the basics. You need to take classes in computers and mathematics so you can have the basics and the fundamentals of learning cybersecurity. You need to develop your basic understanding of things before you can get in and start either defending, networks from the Russians and the Chinese, or, breaking into them to prove that they are secure. You need to participate in cyber clubs. There's a whole bunch of cyber clubs that are out there, and these clubs are a great way to meet like-minded people and share insights and basically try to build your resume and try to learn your horizon of what's actually out there. You should also put your skills to work in something called capture the flag exercises. A lot of these are online. A lot of these happen at conferences. But when you do these things, not only do you get experience exposing yourself to other people and what you've learned, you get to put things on your resume. You get to learn practical examples, usually from very senior people experiencing these things, and actually learn firsthand what it's like to know what you know and demonstrate what you know. You should definitely have an opportunity to go to security conferences. There's a lot of cybersecurity conferences out there. Typically, if you're a student, whether you're in high school or even college, there's programs that get free and or discounted passes to these things. Attending these conferences, it's a really good way to kind of also get your horizon about what is out there and what the limits of what you can learn, and sort of help you identify what parts of cybersecurity most interest you. Now, the last thing is, you really want to get some practice. So as a high schooler, I've seen, people early in their career, they get intern jobs. They get the ability to go out and work in the computer science field, the computer security field. But you can also volunteer. And, you might not think that volunteering is good for your resume. It actually really is. Helping a church, a school, a senior center with PC maintenance, with keeping malware, teaching people about phishing. It can actually be very beneficial for your career, understanding the fundamentals of how to protect a network. But the last thing I want to tell people is that they need to go and they need to learn about the basics and demonstrate what they know by getting certifications. Now, there are certifications out there and many different things. And this is the debated topic. Should you get a college degree or should you get certifications? Certifications, if you're new to cybersecurity, are a great way to demonstrate what you know and what you've learned. And a lot of people are getting certifications out there, and I definitely think it's good to start out and take some of these courses and see what you like and what you don't like. The very last thing I'm going to say is that you should learn AI. And the reason I'm saying you should learn AI right now is because I'm recording this in 2023, January 2023. I actually wrote this entire presentation, including the artwork, with the use of AI. I went to ChatGPT. I have a commercial account, and I said, how do you teach a high school student to get into cybersecurity? And it came out with all of this content. I then have been using ChatGPT to write code, to write scripts, to answer a lot of different questions. And I think this is the future. But just like any other technology, whether it's a firewall or a threat feed or AI like I'm talking about, you need to understand what the limits of those things are. And just to drive that point home, I also asked ChatGPT to write a 2-sentence horror story about robots replacing cybersecurity operators. And it immediately came up with a scenario where we're no longer needed. Now, I do not believe this is the future. I hope this is inspiration for people out there to learn many different kinds of technologies. If you want to learn more about cybersecurity and more about getting into this exciting career, I highly recommend the rest of our videos, and check us out at gula.tech. Once again, I'm Ron Gula. Thanks for watching this video.